Batman Arkham Asylum is such a great game, but one thing about the game that often goes unappreciated or just hated on is the final boss fight with Titan Joker. And the thing is that I actually liked this boss fight. It's definitely not my favorite. I do think there's some problems with Titan Joker, but I think Titan Joker was actually pretty cool. And in my opinion, Titan Joker is overhated. Titan Joker, it all happened when Batman had a boss fight against some of Joker's, Titans, and he beat them. And then Joker, his last resort was to use Titan on himself so he could beat Batman. And a lot of people think that this is not right and this just not fit Joker because, Joker wouldn't do this to himself. It doesn't really fit his character. And I definitely do agree with this in a way. Most of the time, the Joker wouldn't have done something like this to himself. He's more like doing things to others, and it just doesn't seem like the smartest thing to do, maybe you would say. But you have to remember the Joker is crazy. He's absolutely insane. He's willing to do anything, to cause chaos and he's trying to do the craziest things he can. And he knew doing this was not only going to cause chaos, but it was going to cause a big problem for Batman and give Batman a big headache. It was a crazy plot twist. Your first time playing this, or when it first came out, you wouldn't have expected Joker to end up using the Titan on himself, because it's true. It doesn't really feel like something the Joker would do. He feels too smart. He feels like he would only use it on, some of his henchmen or some of the guys working for him, some other villains or criminals or whatever. But he decided to use it on himself. The thing about his Titan Joker design is some people think it looks weird. Some people, I guess, think it looks okay. Maybe some think it actually looks good. I actually think it is a very unique design and I like it. It really appeals to me. I feel like, it kind of is weird because it's weird seeing the Joker so big, muscular, and then plus he has that mohawk, but it's creepy. And Arkham Asylum was, almost like a horror game, so I feel like it fits. And, we saw all the other Titans, so being able to see Joker as a Titan, I think it's pretty cool. The boss fight with him, it's often seen as not very good, but I think it was decent enough. I think it was interesting. I think the storyline surrounding it was good. I think Titan Joker had a decent character design. I think it was, just an interesting storyline. The boss fight is definitely not the hardest. It's definitely not that difficult, but I feel like it's exciting. I still enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind going back and, replaying it every now and then. I feel like it's a pretty good ending to Arkham Asylum. All the other Arkham Asylum boss fights were really not that hard. The boss fights really start to get harder after Arkham Asylum, like in Arkham Origins, Arkham City. That's when the boss fights are actually, harder. Arkham Asylum, I would say all their boss fights were pretty much easier. Joker turning himself into a Titan and then going ahead and doing what he was doing just shows how reckless he is. And since this was, the first time we've ever seen Joker portrayed like this in a game with this more Batman the Animated Series inspired approach, and also so similar to the comics, while also being for almost more of any age and even more targeted at older people, not just little kids. It's also a little bit more mature at times and scary. I think it was done great, and for the game to end like this, I think is a creative idea. People really tend to hate on it though. I know people think that it doesn't fit the character and they don't think the design's the best. They don't think the ending is necessarily the best. It's not the best boss fight. But I don't think it deserves all this hate, and I feel like it just deserves to be appreciated more for how creative, and it's also just so iconic. And it's one of the biggest moments in Arkham Asylum, and I would say all of the Arkham games. I feel like it definitely deserves to get, some more credit for being good in certain ways. And even if you don't think it's that great, I feel like so many people just shouldn't dislike it so much. I think that this was a really cool character design for Joker. I personally think that it was nice to see something a little different. It was nice to see something that, was unique, something that was fun and interesting. I really like this moment. I think that others should like it way more. It just set Arkham City up so well, having Joker turn into a Titan, because then after he ends up getting, sick from using Titan, and in Arkham City, the whole time it just makes the storyline so much greater, and it just affects the story in just overall such a great way. So Titan Joker really did help out the story. Joker, in a way, got portrayed having like superpowers in a way, which was nice to see, because Batman and Joker are always characters that are seen as not having superpowers usually, most of the time. So getting to see Joker portrayed in a way actually having the physical edge over Batman and having superpowers in a way, being so much stronger and bigger than Batman in this new Titan form, I think was pretty cool, and it was unusual, so it really was entertaining. Joker was still acting like himself as the Titan. It wasn't like he was just some complete dumb zombie. He was using it to his advantage while still being the same old Joker he always is. The crazy, silly, fun, evil guy. And I think that it was a good ending, especially specifically for Arkham Asylum, only being the first game, and it didn't have to be that hard of a boss fight, or it didn't have to be the biggest, best, craziest ending ever, because this was only the first game. It almost just was showing the characters off in the way they are more than anything, being used to set up future Arkham games, being used just to make things feel more exciting, to make things feel more unpredictable, because it was very unexpected seeing Joker like this. Titan Joker, I actually want to know how strong he really was. Like, he could have probably beat Bane in a fight. He was so big and muscular that he was a serious physical threat. It's just that Batman, of course, ends up winning, but Joker was literally trying to, throw Batman around and kick him around. They were up on top of this, the roof. It was just absolutely crazy. And I thought that it really felt like a really, just unique and cool ending to Arkham Asylum. Because Arkham Asylum, the whole time, it was flashy and eye-catching. Even, the lead up to Joker turning himself into the Titan was good. Joker joking around, and then he also at one point was, just teasing Batman, and he had a feather in his hand, and then he ends up getting the injector, or whatever you want to call it, in his hand, injecting himself with the Titan. The ending to me seemed pretty exciting, pretty epic. I think it was a good cinematic ending that was fun. It wasn't completely serious, even though a lot of Arkham Asylum is, but it had aspects of horror, it had aspects of being silly, entertainment. It was just overall a well-rounded package. I think that since they were trying to make the first game for the Arkham games, they were not trying to make it too much of anything, and they were trying to make it so that, it would go well and everybody would like it. They did a good job, because to this day, Arkham Asylum, it's still such a great game, with many people thinking it's the best Arkham game. Of course, others think one of the others are the best, but Arkham fans love usually all the Arkham games, and then many people still think that Arkham Asylum is a masterpiece. Arkham Asylum, I love the game, and this ending was one of the most memorable parts of the game, at least for me, and when I first played it, I really liked it. So everybody not liking it makes sense. I feel like definitely more people should like it, but at the end of the day, not everyone's gonna like everything. Not everyone's gonna think that something is good not everyone's gonna like what you like, and this happens with so many things, not everyone's gonna like the same thing. So I like Titan Joker, and I think he's overhated. I do think Titan Joker could have still been a little bit more difficult of a boss fight, and there was things they could have done better, but at the end of the day, I do mostly think he's good, and I liked it. Let me know in the comments, do you like Titan Joker? Do you think that the final boss fight with him at the end of Arkham Asylum was good? Or do you think that it was bad? It wasn't a good boss fight, and Titan Joker was just kind of off and weird. Remember to subscribe and to turn on notifications. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next Cosmic Chaos video. Bye!